Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're architecting the state-of-the-art data platform for 2025. With all the new tools and trends popping up, it can feel like chaos. Well, we're going to cut through that complexity and give you a clear, actionable blueprint. Okay, let's dive right in. With the absolute explosion of data and AI demanding more and more from it, the old ways of managing data, they're just breaking. So the real question is, are you building on a solid foundation for the future, or are you accidentally building a data swamp? Let's find out. So over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through the whole blueprint, layer by layer. We'll start with the big picture, lay down the foundation, figure out how to move and shape the data, orchestrate everything, and then cover trust in AI. Finally, we'll put it all together. Let's get to it. First up, why do we even need a modern stack? What's wrong with the old way? Well, it's all about tackling these huge challenges that just won't go away. You've got data silos everywhere, the business is demanding real-time insights yesterday, and maybe most importantly, we have to make our data trustworthy enough to actually power modern AI. To solve those problems, you have to start with a rock-solid foundation. If we think of our data platform as a city, this is the foundational grid, the zoning plan. And in the modern data world, that's called the lake house. And it's just a brilliant idea that really does give you the best of both worlds. See, historically, you kind of had two main choices. On one hand, you have the data warehouse. Super reliable, great for business intelligence, but also pretty rigid and expensive. On the other hand, you had the data lake. It gave you incredible flexibility and was low cost, but, it often turned into a chaotic, messy data swamp because it just lacked governance. And that's where the modern solution, the lakehouse, comes in. It gives us the best of both, the cheap, flexible storage of a data lake, but with this powerful layer of reliability and performance right on top. Now, the real magic that makes this all possible is a technology called open table formats. And these are the big three that provide that transactional magic. You've got Delta Lake, which is deeply integrated with Spark. Then there's Apache Iceberg, which is awesome because it's engine agnostic. It'll work with almost anything. And finally, Apache Hudi, which really shines with real-time streaming data. The main point here isn't to pick a winner, but to know you have these powerful options that prevent chaos and make your data reliable enough for serious analytics and AI. So we've got our foundation. Now what? How do we actually get data into it and make it useful? Well, now we have to build the infrastructure, the pipelines that are going to act like the highways and factories of our data city. Now, a really crucial shift has happened right here. We've moved from ETL to ELT. Instead of transforming data before you load it, the modern way is to load all that raw data first. Why? Because it lets us use the massive power of the cloud data platform itself to do the heavy lifting. It just gives us way more flexibility and scale. For the ingestion piece, think of these as the on-ramps to our data city. A few open source tools are really leading the way. You've got Airbyte, which is famous for its absolutely massive library of pre-built connectors. Then there's Meltano for all the developers who love version control. And Singer, which gives you this really simple modular way to build your own pipelines. Once that raw data is in, dbt takes over. And let's be clear, it's pretty much the undisputed king of transformation right now. What's so great about it is that it lets anyone who knows SQL build clean, reliable, analysis-ready datasets. You can think of dbt as the factories in our city that turn all those raw materials into valuable, finished goods. Okay, so now we've got data flowing in, and we've got factories transforming it. But you can imagine, with all these pipelines running, ingestion jobs, dbt models, things can get tangled up fast. We need a conductor for this orchestra. We need a traffic control system for our data city. And this is a huge pain point. As your pipelines grow, managing all the dependencies and schedules becomes a total nightmare. You end up with these brittle systems that are impossible to debug. The solution is a dedicated data orchestrator. It's the air traffic control that makes sure every single job runs in the right order at exactly the right time. And the choice of tool here really depends on your team. Apache Airflow is the big, established industry standard. It's super powerful, but it has a pretty steep learning curve. Then you have the modern challengers. Dagster, which cleverly focuses on the data assets you're creating, not just the tasks. And Prefect, which is known for being incredibly developer-friendly. These are gaining a ton of traction because they just make it easier to get going. And hey, you don't have to take my word for it. This sentiment from the data engineering community on Reddit just nails the trade-offs perfectly. If you want a job, learn Airflow, because it's everywhere. But if you're starting a new project and want to move fast, the newer tools offer a much smoother ride. So our data city is built, and the traffic is flowing smoothly. But now we get to the most important part. We have to make sure everything is high quality, trustworthy, and ready for advanced stuff like AI. This is where we bring in the guards and the brains of our city. One of the most powerful trends for building that trust is the rise of something called data contracts. Honestly, the simplest way to think about them is as an enforceable API for your data. It's a formal agreement that makes data quality a truly shared responsibility. And here's how it works in practice. The whole process starts with the data consumer, the person who needs the data, defining exactly what they need. Then the producer formally agrees to it and takes ownership. That contract is then enforced directly in the code, and finally, it's monitored 24/7. This totally flips data quality from being a reactive cleanup job into a proactive, collaborative effort. It's a game changer. And these are the tools that support that layer of trust. Data catalogs act like the city's library or its Google Maps. They give everyone a way to find and understand all the data. And data observability platforms, those are the emergency services, constantly watching the pipelines and alerting you the second something goes wrong. And this is why having a high-trust stack is completely non-negotiable in 2025. It's the absolute foundation for modern AI. It enables these powerful techniques like RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. That's really just a fancy way of saying you can give a large language model secure access to your own trusted, up-to-the-minute data, which, as you can imagine, dramatically boosts its accuracy and its value to the business. Okay, so let's bring this all home. What's the key takeaway as you go off and think about building your own stack for 2025? Here's the blueprint. The biggest thing to remember is that the modern data stack isn't a single product you buy off the shelf. It's a composable system, a blueprint. You build your foundation on an open lakehouse. You pick the best-in-class tools for your pipelines and orchestration, and you layer on that critical element of trust with contracts and catalogs. It's all about choosing the right tool for the right job. And we'll leave you with this final thought, and it might just be the most important one of all. The biggest shift here isn't really about technology. It's about mindset. The moment you start treating your data ecosystem as a product with real internal customers who depend on it, you'll naturally start building a stack that drives incredible value today and well into the future.